So the first thing we need to address is your ego. They say that ego is the enemy, and this couldn't be further from the truth. This is what holds a lot of young men back. It held me back for a while, and it was why I was quite literally invisible to girls. I wasn't able to really attract any girls, and the girls I was attracting, I certainly wasn't attracted to, right? You might relate to that statement. You might feel like you deserve more. You kind of feel entitled, like you want to attract those 7s, those 8s, those 9s, but you just can't seem to do it, and you don't understand why. And a lot of shorter guys, they'll end up blaming their height. And they genuinely believe that if they woke up, just magically, they were like 6'3" tomorrow morning, that women would just be like falling out of the sky and into their laps. But that's not how it actually works. In fact, I'm here to tell you, women actually don't really care about height that much. Now, sure, yeah, some of them do. Some of them do prefer taller men and won't go for shorter guys. But that's honestly few and far in between in my experience. And the reason that is when a woman says, I don't date short guys, what that actually means is she doesn't like dating guys who are, not handsome, not in shape, socially awkward, broke, low confidence, right? You get the idea? Like you're lacking in all these other areas. And it's just a lot nicer and easier, honestly, for her to say, yeah, I'm just not really into short guys. See what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying that's nice either, but it's nicer than the latter. Like, a girl's not just going to be like, yeah, I don't like fat dudes. Yeah, I don't date broke dudes. I mean, some of these girls might say that, but you get the idea, right? And a lot of guys are blinded by their own ego and can't objectively look at themselves in the mirror and say, it's everything else but their height, right? And for those of you guys that are still in disbelief and think that if you just magically woke up 6'4" tomorrow morning, that it would just be 100 times easier for you and that you'd just be like on God mode. I got a buddy. He was actually in my one-on-one mentorship for a bit. I was coaching him. And this guy, on paper, you would think, absolute Chad, women falling into his lap. 6'4", jacked, right? But he hadn't gone on a date in like 4 or 5 years. 4 or 5 years. 6'4", jacked. Hadn't gone on a date in 4 or 5 years. Crazy, right? And he saw the kind of success I was having with dating apps, Instagram, and just attracting girls and the kind of girls I was attracting. And he was like, dude, like, you're 5'6". What's the secret? What's the secret? How are you able to do this and I can't? And I was like, you want me to be honest with you, bro? And he's like, yeah, like, what's going on? So I was like, dude, like, you could definitely lose some weight. You could be dressing better. Your social skills definitely aren't the best. But these are all things we can work on. These are things we can improve, right? So, I told him, like, what haircut to get. I told him what clothes to buy. He bought some new clothes. And I put him on the workout routine. Like, obviously, I said he was jacked, but he needed to lose some body fat. And I also had him prioritize, like, the proportions that actually make your body more attractive, like your shoulders, lats, that kind of thing, so you could have, like, the V-taper aesthetic. And all of a sudden, like, after literally a month of working with me, it was, like, a night and day difference. He didn't even finish the program, but, like, girls were just, like, approaching him when he was going out. He was getting girls' numbers. And, like, he didn't even have to go on dates with these girls. He didn't even have to go on dates with them. They were just like, hey, come over to my place. Let's watch a movie, right? But before that, non-existent. None of that. Invisible. Non-existent, right? And that just goes to show that height is only a amplifier. It only amplifies your attractiveness. But if you're lacking in every other area of your life, it doesn't really matter. So as a short guy, the lesson you need to take here is, okay, being short, it's a bit of a disadvantage, but it's not the end of the world. In fact, as long as I maximize every other aspect of my life, like my style, my looks, my confidence, my charisma, my body language, my physique. Physique is arguably the most important, by the way. I can instantly stand out more than the guys who are 6 foot, and women will look past my height. In fact, they won't even reject me because I'm instantly her top pick because I'm better than all these guys, right? That might sound kind of like egotistical, but it's the truth. Like, look around in public. Like, most guys are out of shape. They're skinny fat. They don't dress nice. They don't carry themselves well. The average man has less than like $1,000 in his bank account. Your competition is very low, bro. The competition is very, very low. So don't beat yourself up. Don't beat yourself up, because I'm telling you, bro, when I maximize everything else and I stop blaming, my height, my genetics, and every other variable that's outside of my control, and I focused on what I could control, I dropped my ego, the results were a night and day difference. All of a sudden, every time I go out, women are checking me out left and right, giving me the full body scan. I get approached here and there. I go on a dating app any night of the week, dozens and dozens of matches, right? I'm just living on easy mode, but it wasn't always that way. The key was I had to drop my ego. I had to drop my ego, which kind of hurt. It hurt because I had to admit to myself, I'm not good enough. I had to admit to myself, I'm severely lacking as a man. And I know you don't want to do that. That hurts. But you know what's even more painful? Continuing to stay stuck where you're at. Feeling undesirable. Feeling invisible to the world. That killed me inside. In fact, there were times where I genuinely felt suicidal. Now, I made a pact with myself that I would never kill myself, and I never will. I refuse to. I think that's an incredibly selfish thing you can do as a man. But the thoughts, they were in my mind because I just felt so worthless and pathetic. But the truth was, it was all my fault. It was all my fault. Because I wasn't living up to my full potential. I was pointing the finger and blaming everything else outside of my control, right? That's why I had that anxiety, that feeling of hopelessness, that feeling of not feeling good enough, feeling like the world didn't, want me existing. I just felt like so pathetic as a man that the idea of death, I was never going to take my own life, but the idea of death felt very comforting, if I'm being honest with you. And it was simply due to the fact that I had no purpose in my life. No purpose. I would wake up at like 10 a.m. every single morning. I didn't even have an alarm clock. I literally didn't even own an alarm clock. I would wake up at 10 a.m., scroll on my phone, fucking jerk off, roll back to bed with jizz in my pants, wake back up at like 10:30, eat a bunch of like sugary processed shit like pancakes or French toast, scroll on my phone all day. I was borderline failing all of my classes, and I was unemployed. And then I would like play Fortnite till 3 a.m. Like my life had no purpose. I was providing no value to the world. And that's why I felt so pathetic, right? Because not only was I pathetic and severely lacking as a man, but like when you know deep down inside that, you're just kind of a bum, you're a bit of a degenerate, you're not going to carry yourself with confidence. You're not going to speak with conviction. And that energy, it projects outwardly to the world. And when you're talking to women, they can pick up on that. It doesn't even matter how handsome or in shape you are. If you're lacking as a man, that energy outwardly projects to the world. It transfers and women pick up on that, and it immediately turns them away. Not just women, but people in general. Like people don't want to be around someone who's negative because they don't want that energy to latch onto them, right? People want to be around positivity, and the only way you can become a positive person is by living a positive life and going after your goals, chasing your dreams, trying to be the best man you can be every single day. And that's what truly makes you attractive. Yeah, looks matter. Yeah, physique matters. But when you're a man on his grind, on his mission, on his purpose, just going hard every single day, that's what gives you that masculine edge. That's what makes you confident. That's what makes you attractive. Because most men, they're comfortable. They're complacent with what they are in their life. They work a job and they have like a basic salary and they don't really want to work towards that promotion. Or go to a sales job where they can make 100% commission and the sky's the limit to their earning potential. Or starting a business or a side hustle, whatever. Guys are complacent. They don't want to work more. And I'm telling you, this is what gives you true fulfillment. This is what gives you fulfillment. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. When I talk to girls, they just can tell by the way I speak. Like, I don't tell them how hard I work. They can just tell by the way I talk, the way I think, the way I move, that I'm driven, that I live my life with purpose, and that I have goals. And they find it so attractive because most guys they're talking to aren't that way. And I'll tell you this, despite what the media tells you, women crave masculinity in a man. It's so few and far in between these days. And it's not 100% your fault. It's not 100% your fault, because the media does feminize men these days. And I will say, even though it's not your fault, it is your problem. It is your problem, and that's something you need to address. It is something you absolutely need to address, because you could do this whole looks maxing thing. You can work on your physique. You can do all that. But if you're not masculine as a man, if you can't take the lead on a date, you're never going to attract a truly feminine woman. It's the truth, right? But understand this, man. Ego is the enemy. Ego is what's holding you back. At the end of the day, it's only up to you to make a change. Everything is your fault. Everything is your fault. It is your fault that you can't attract the women you want, right? It is your fault because you're not living up to your potential. Everyone likes to blame their genetics. They like to blame their height because it gives them an easy way out. They don't have to admit to themselves they're not good enough. But once you can take that sting, once you accept that you're not good enough, you're no longer going to have to settle for girls that aren't your type. You're no longer going to have a non-existent dating life. You're not going to have to deal with the games of girls taking like 6 to 8 hours to text you back. For once in your life, women are actually going to be checking you out. They're going to be admiring you. They're going to be glancing at you, giving you the full body scan, the double take. You might even get catcalled here or there. That happened to me the other day at the grocery store. You're going to get approached here and there. You're going to take really good photos of yourself in cool outfits and cool locations, and you're going to put them on your dating app profile, and you're going to get flooded with more matches than you even know what to do with. And I don't just mean like any match, bro. I mean like the kind of girls that you've always wanted to attract, that you never thought you stood a chance with. You know, you hear all these self-improvement guys talking about, you know, your dream life, your dream reality, the vision. And to you, it seems out of reach. It seems out of reach. And when you first experience it, you're going to be going through imposter syndrome thinking, this isn't reality. But then once you actually go on dates with these girls and you see the way they look at you, the way they behave around you, you're going to realize, wow, this is what I was really capable of. This is what I was really capable of. And it was all because I dropped my ego and I decided to self-improve. And if that's something you want to do, man, if you want to experience life on the other side, if you want to live up to your true potential, if you're tired of being mediocre, being the victim, blaming everyone else but yourself, and you actually want to improve, I help short men maximize their self-image, maximize their social skills, work on every other aspect of their life so they can be a woman's best option. So you no longer are competing against all these guys who are 6'1", 6'2", because I'll tell you this, when you become her best option, when you're doing well financially, when you got the looks, when you got the physique, the confidence, the charisma, that aura to you, all those other guys are irrelevant. You're her top pick, right? So if you want help with that, I help guys with that. You can click the link in the description of this video, top link. Book a one-on-one coaching call with me. I'll get you right. I'll get you on the workout program. We'll figure out what haircut you need to get, what clothes you need to buy, all of that. And if that's not something you're ready for, man, that's cool. I post videos like this every single day to help you guys out. And I'm going to link a few videos in the description of this video that will help you in the right direction. I'm going to link a video on how you can set up your Hinge profile. I put together an hour-long guide. It's my most viewed video. I posted it last week and it's getting so much attention. Like, guys have been DMing me saying like, yo, ever since I watched that video, like I'm literally getting dates this week. Like I've gotten 10 matches today just from implementing what you taught in that video. So definitely watch that video. It's a Hinge guide for shorter men. And then I also posted a video yesterday on how you can build the aesthetic body as a shorter man so you can attract more women. Because I truly believe your physique is your highest point of leverage of attraction as a shorter man. But yeah, check those two videos out. But if you do want to work with me one-on-one, top link in the description. Otherwise, guys, hope you got something out of this video. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.